Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're having a good day. So for today's video, I'm going to do my current brow routine. My brows always are changing, so this is going to be like for this month how I'm doing my eyebrows. I'm sure I'll hate it next month. So that being said, let's get into this routine. Getting started, we're looking a little busted right now. But I just washed my face, so we're starting off with, a clean little situation. Whenever I do my makeup, I always start off with my brows because I go in with makeup remover. I mentioned this, I think, in my product empties, that I use the oil-free Neutrogena makeup remover to like clean up my brows, whereas a lot of people use concealer to clean up their brows. I find it easier just to use that. It does look a little greasy sometimes, but I just go in with powder when I'm done and set it. I'm just going to cover up this pimple though, because like I don't want to look at that the whole time. I always like to start off with my e.l.f. mattifying lotion. I just put this all over my face, my brows included, because I want my brows to be mattified. And this might turn into a voiceover like halfway through or like right now because it's so loud outside. So watching this back, my camera didn't pick up the sound outside as much as I thought it was going to, so I wish I would have just talked through this because you wouldn't have even heard it. But anyways, I'm just putting this Rimmel powder. It's a mattifying white powder on my brows. I like my brows being almost dry and like crusty. I know it's kind of gross, but it helps prevent the products and stuff from moving and lasting longer. So I just put this on for like a couple seconds and then we'll wipe it off. But it always reminds me of like Santa or something. I don't know. So I just went through and plucked a couple of eyebrows. So that's why it's all red and looks like I'm crying. I'm okay, guys. So I'm just combing my brows now in the shape that I kind of want to fill them in with. And I'm also just going to trim a couple of the hairs because they're just a little bit too long and they need to be tamed. I'm going to get started with this LA Girl Brow Pomade in the shade Dark Brown, and I just use this little brush that I have from Benefit. I basically just go in and outline my shape of my brow. And I also use this Blade Brow pencil. It's just a small pointed pencil from Relove Beauty. And I've really been liking it. I think it's only $2 on their website, so extremely affordable. So with that pencil, I just kind of define the top a little more. And now I'm going back in with the pomade to get my bottom arch going so that it can connect and make my little tail here. As you can see, we're getting there slowly but surely. And the reason that I'm going over it so many times is because I'm picking up very little product. I find that it's easier to work with a little bit and build it up than to just have a whole clump of pomade. It makes it harder to blend out and it starts looking very cakey. Now I'm going in with my eye makeup remover. I just get this brush also from Benefit and I just like to clean up all around it and take off some of the product just to make it more defined, and especially like around my tail. I always like it to be more of a pointed end. I got one eyebrow on. And now I'm just gonna do the other one. Oh, it's quiet outside now, so I'm back. This usually takes me around like 15-20 minutes total time. I know it seems like a while now, but I'm just taking my time, showing you guys, explaining. I think what takes me longer is the fact that I like to take pictures as I'm going to see like, okay, do I actually like how this is turning out? Because in college, I didn't realize that's when I started like doing my brows and they were all over the place. Like I did the Sharpie brows. I mean, this kind of might even seem like a Sharpie brow to some people, but my brows were like literally this big, like no joke. I don't want to expose myself like that, but I look at pictures of me when I was in college and I'm just like, what the hell was I thinking? How did I think that looked good? And honestly, I'm sure with these brows now, I'll look back on them and be like, why did I do that? That was just the phase I guess I went through. No one really said anything to me. My mom would tell me, why do you make them, why do you make them so square? And I'm like, you think your parents, they don't know what they're talking about. Like they don't understand the style that's in. But yeah, I should have listened to my mom because she obviously saw that it just wasn't looking right. I don't know, like it's just so weird how one day you just decide to start doing them differently, and I guess that's kind of what happened with me. I don't know if I took a picture of myself or saw a picture of myself one day and I'm like, holy shit, they're so big. I also watched a lot of makeup tutorials, so I think maybe that's why I decided, and I'm using the pencil because it's just easier right there. I think maybe I decided one day that I want my brows to look more like Carly Bibles or whoever I was watching. Anyways, going back to what I was saying with the picture, I like to take pictures when I'm doing it to see do they actually look somewhat related. But all the time when I look in the mirror, I'm like, wow, they look so good and I love them. And then I take a picture and it's like, this one is literally this tiny and then this one's like huge, and I'm like, how didn't I notice that? Like, I don't know, mirrors are deceiving apparently. I always like take pictures of myself. So if you see my camera, you know, be here focused 1 second and then it's over here the next, is because I was probably taking a picture of my eyebrows to see how we're looking. There's this one picture that I'm specifically thinking of when I was wearing like this purple shirt. I was sitting in my car. My eyebrows, it looked like the 90s Drew Barrymore eyebrow. I don't know why they were so thin, and I was never one to really do like a thin eyebrow, and that was just a couple months ago. I just am like constantly changing how I do them. I'm just gonna clean this up right quick. I always start off with my left eyebrow. I don't really know why. I think I like that one more. My right eyebrow is always a pain in the ass. It never wants to look like the left one, and he just requires a lot of work. This LA Girl Brow Bestie, it's basically like a brow definer like from Anastasia. I probably wouldn't repurchase it. I've had it for a long time, like it's been lasting me a while, but just because I don't use it that much. I kind of use it at like the front when I want it to be more light, and on the tail when I just want to like fill it in a little bit. Other than that, I really like a smaller point because then I can be more defined, even though this is supposed to be a definer technically. But I like the skinnier like one that you can be more precise with it, and I guess that's why Benefit has their Precisely My Brow. That kind of makes sense now. But I touched up the front a little bit. What do we think? How are we looking? I like to go in with some sort of brow gel just to keep my brows set. But if I'm being honest, whenever I use a pomade, I don't always need a brow gel just because the pomade kind of sets it in place. But sometimes, like over here, the hairs can get a little crazy, so I always just go and just kind of drag it down. I never do the front because I want the front to look as natural as possible. I mean, for the most part, like right here especially, that's just my hair. It's not filled in. This one's a little bit more filled in because it doesn't have as much just like stray hairs as this one. But I don't want the front to look crusty or like whatever with the brow gel, so I typically just go from the middle outwards and just do that. I'm just gonna put some mascara on, a little bit of concealer so I can film my intro. And yeah, so this is the finished brow routine, and I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you next time.